every second matters. Just give me one more day to get it right. I need just one more day.
Transplant Talk with Nyshonda, Thursday, 7 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Transplant Talk with Nyshonda. I am your hostess with the mostest, Nyshonda Larimore, and I am also a president and CEO of Save 1,000 Lives, and I am super excited that you are here to join us again for another episode. If you all do not know, August is National Minority Donor Awareness Month. And today we have a very good friend, a very, very good friend to the show, Miss Sadria Strong, all the way from Georgia. So we're going to give her Georgia peach today. She's a Georgia peach. I'm from Florida, so we have the oranges. So we are here today to honor a very, very special young lady, her beautiful, beautiful daughter, who actually passed away becoming an organ donor. So her mom is an advocate for organ donation. And she is always here whenever I need her to tell the story, to keep Briana's name and legacy alive. We're never going to let Briana's story die. So today I have Miss Sadria Strong, and I also have Life Quest very own Jessica with us today. Okay, and again, Jessica has been an amazing, amazing resource when it comes to being able to get guests for the show in the month of August. So I promise you we will not hold you long. I really want you to hear about Briana's story. For those of you that don't follow Transplant Talk with Nyshonda, it's an amazing, amazing story. And hopefully we will not be crying today because we already got those tears out of the way. So we kind of want to update you a little bit about what has happened in the case of Briana's story, and remind you why it's so very important for people to become organ donors. So without any further ado, I will bring on Miss Sadria Strong and Miss Jessica from Life Quest. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How are you over there in Georgia?
Dry, trying to stay dry. It's it's raining, but I'm doing good.
Listen, well, at least y'all get the rain, cause
Yes.
it's not raining over here. We might have had some little lightning and a little lightning in the rain in small places, but not a lot. Jacksonville it's hot here. It is hot. I promise you. I feel like I'm going through.
It's hot.
I'm going through a heater. I'm walking through an oven. That's how
It's
I
an
feel.
oven, not a heater, an oven. Yes.
A whole oven. So yeah, I don't think we've ever had a heat wave this long.
Yes.
But it's too much. So I like to tell people, listen, whatever y'all did to Mother Nature, repent. Say I'm sorry.
Yes. I'm
so
sorry.
That it rain. We need the rain. I got to do a rain dance so that we can cool off a little bit. So
yes.
We've been blessed, but it's good to know that we're not the only place where it's super duper hot.
Yes.
And so I want to bring Jessica on now, and then you all can introduce yourselves. I know I said a little bit, but I want you to be able to tell people a little bit of who you are before we share the story. Is that cool with you?
That's fine.
All right, Jessica.
Hi, how are you?
All right, it worked.
We're in.
We are in. So Sadria is going to tell us a little bit about Miss Briana.
Okay. My daughter, Briana, was an organ donor who saved 4 lives. And as a result of that, I'm fulfilling her purpose by sharing her legacy, her story, and created a nonprofit in her name. Every opportunity I get to share her story, I do it in her honor. And so I'm looking forward to all the projects we have coming up and updates to share with you all. So I am excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining us. Miss Jessica, can you let our audience know who you are?
Yes, so I am Jessica Scheidler. I'm with LifeQuest, the organ procurement organization here in North Florida, and just trying to bring awareness about organ donation to as many people as possible, especially during the month of August, which is National Minority Donor Awareness Month, to really inform and educate people about the importance of being a donor and dismiss any of the misconceptions people may have about donation.
And really and truly, that is what everyone is trying to do that is involved, in this campaign or working in this field. Everyone has the same sentiments, the importance of organ donation. And yeah, it's so funny. I saw a post today that said, hey, take the organ donation or organ donor off of your driver's license. You'll thank me later. And in my heart, I'm like, well, what happened? Because I want to know, why
Yes.
would you
Why
make
would
that
you say that?
statement? Because I know we all have different experiences, but why would you say, like, take it off, when in my experience, never once was my husband asked if he was an organ donor?
Right.
Never once. So I actually want to double back and kind of find out from that person, why did they share those sentiments when,
Mhm.
we have so many people that have been blessed by
Right.
organ donation, and so many people are still waiting for a life-saving transplant. So
Well, it's
I,
important to get that information out to people because they just don't know. They have never had the conversation, or they hear one bad story. And so they just assume that's just how everything works. So it's nice to have that communication and say, hey, no, this is actually what happens. It makes a huge difference and saves so many lives.
yes, and that's really important. Very, very important. And I know, Jessica, you are, well, I mean, you work for LifeQuest, but let the audience know, like, what your job entails. Where do you go so that, you're bringing this awareness?
Yeah, so I am all over in the Jacksonville area, going into high school, colleges, talking to those new drivers and driver's ed, because you're getting asked when you get your driver's license if you want to be an organ donor or not. So it's important to have that conversation with those new students, those new driving students. But then also just going out into the community, speaking at churches, at different community events, whether it's on the golf course or a Rotary meeting, trying to reach as many people as possible to show and explain what all this means. So it doesn't matter who you are, but you can make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Sadria, she
Yes.
does the same thing, right?
I do. I go in many different areas in the community, not just sharing about organ donation, but empowering and inspiring and motivating people in life itself. So it's definitely an important month for us because, that the stigma of organ donation itself is that number one reason we always hear. And it's like, I can attest to the fact that my daughter she was taken care of with the most extreme care. And they had no idea she was an organ donor.
Right. So that's what I want to know. I need to invite this person on my show because I really want to know why, why they said that. But just to make it clear, in order for you to be an organ donor, it does not have to be on your driver's license. So that's another little piece of the information that a lot of people do not know. It does not
Right.
have to be there. You could register. Jessica, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so initially in the 50s, when the organ donation process started, there wasn't computers, and so everything was done on the computer, or excuse me, printed on your driver's license. Since then, everything has moved to a new digital platform, and so you can still have that heart on your physical driver's license, but it's no longer required. Most states, including Florida, you can choose to not have that heart on your license, but still be registered as an organ donor. So, for example, I'm currently registered as an organ donor. I have a heart on my license that says that, but I can unregister as an organ donor on the computer and it won't show up on, like, there's no change on my driver's license. So that license is no longer a reliable source because of the internet. So you can still register online and it won't show up on your physical license. The only way that you can do that is if you go to the DMV or the tax collector's office, and there you can register as an organ donor and get that heart put onto your license and or taken off. But if you are like me and don't really love going to wait in those lines at the tax collector's office or DMV, you're able to register online. Takes about 2 minutes at donatelifeflorida.org. And right there you can register, or registerme.org. And that's the national registry as well.
And there you have it. Now you all have been educated. Okay. You've got the facts. You've received it from the horse's mouth on what you all can do. Now, let's get to this story. Okay, Sadria, I know we've had this. We've had the honor and pleasure of doing this before.
Yeah.
So let's recap a little bit about what happened to your beautiful daughter, Briana.
Okay. All right. So on August 30th, 2014, my daughter and her fiance, he took her to get a late night craving pregnancy meal. She was 7 months pregnant at the time, and they were coming back from that meal, and there were two men at his stepfather's home where they were staying at temporarily, and they were there for the stepfather. Unfortunately, the kidnappers saw well, they weren't actually kidnappers. They were there to get something from the stepfather. And in turn, they grabbed both of them. As a result, they grabbed Briana first. And then her fiance saw that she was taken and he was going with her. So they put them both in a van and drove off, calling the stepfather for ransom, wanting money. And they had no idea that that was his stepson, and that wasn't his daughter. That was his stepson's fiance. They just wanted their money. They called several times, and as a result, the last time they said, we mean business and we'll show you. You don't think we'll hurt them. And so they took them to Atlanta. They drove to Atlanta, a dark neighborhood that was not very well lit, handcuffed them both behind their backs, and shot her fiance twice in the back of his head. And they shot Briana in the back of her head. And they left them there. And a man coming home from a third shift saw my daughter and visibly pregnant and couldn't believe she was still alive. And he called the emergency. He called 911, and they rushed her to Grady Hospital. When I got the call, when they were kidnapped, and I went back home waiting, hoping for, they would find them. And I was told to go to Grady Hospital. So I wasn't told till her father and I were at Grady Hospital that she was shot in the back of her head. And we had less than 24 hours for her. And then the baby they delivered by emergency C-section, and she would probably not survive either. So at that moment, we were both taken to the ICU floor to see Briana. And of course, her father walked in that room to see his baby in the bed. And I heard him call her name. And it's a certain sound, a certain way he said her name that I knew, I could hear the pain. So I walked in there after I composed myself, because I was always still positive about, she's in lucky room number 13 in the ICU floor. Who thinks that? But I was thinking that. And I walked in there and seeing your child lifeless, not moving. Her head was wrapped. she was just laying in that bed, and her father was on one side telling, daddy's here. And I was on the other side saying, I'm here, mommy's here. And I told her babies were safe. At the time, she had a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, and she was 7 months pregnant. I said, the baby's been delivered, and I will take care of them. I just need you to get better. And so 3 days later, for 3 days, everyone that loved Briana had an opportunity to say their last goodbyes. I had family from all over and friends, and her brother had just went to school, his first year in college, 2 weeks before. So we had to go drive down to University of West Georgia to go get him. And so he spent about an hour and a half with his sister alone, and they had their moment together. And that third day, the doctors were like, we're at a point now where we have to do a brain activity test to decide what the further care will be for Briana. And so I said, okay, I have faith. I believe I'm going to get a miracle. And he was like, all right, Miss Strong. So I paced the lobby down in Grady Hospital. I don't know for how long. It was over an hour. And they finally called us, and we went back upstairs, and we were in a conference room, and the doctor came in with another woman and sat down and said, Ms. Strong, as of 6:16 p.m., Briana's being declared brain dead. And there's an opportunity for her to save lives. And in my mind, I'm like, 6:16 p.m., what do you mean? But not, nothing was really connecting. And I said, okay. And I said, what is that? What is it? And he said, organ donation. Now, Briana and I had that conversation years before when she got her permit. She called me when she got it. She was excited. I got my permit. I'm going to be an organ donor, just my major organs, Mom. And I said, okay. And I was so proud of her. She was happy, but knowing that that's what she wanted to do, because she's always wanted to be a doctor. Her dream at the age of 5 was to be a pediatrician. Her pediatrician, Dr. Renette Flowers, I will never forget that woman's name. She lit a fire inside of Briana and did something to Briana that changed in that first appointment. And she knew that's what she wanted to do. And she never changed her mind. And so me knowing these things, it wasn't a matter of us thinking about it. I immediately said yes. And that's when they introduced us to LifeLink of Georgia's rep, the nurse. Her name was Lucy Insco, and she was there to coordinate the process. And so I told them my daughter only wanted to donate major organs. Knowing what I know now after all the years of volunteering and educating myself and learning about organ donation, I wish I'd given more of her to help others. And so we did the paperwork, signed it, and LifeLink did a beautiful poem. They read a beautiful poem. I was there, her father and my parents, and her father's mother was there, and his sister, and we were there around her bed as they read their beautiful poem, thanking her for the gift that she was about to give to others. And it was a heart within a heart, ceramic hearts, and they gave me 4 of them. So one was placed on Briana's chest, and after recovery of her organs,
Oh, I see you now.
I gave her the heart. I kept the heart. They gave it to me to keep. I did not know they moved her to Emory Hospital because Grady's a trauma hospital. So it was not until 2 days. So September the 3rd was actually the day that they recovered her organs. And so they called me. We were celebrating one of my friend's birthday. It was his birthday, and we were at a restaurant, and we all were gathered. It was like I still had all of my family from Florida and Texas, and everybody was there. And we had like it might have been 20 of us. And so we finally got seated, and I had the phone call. I walked out, and she said, Ms. Strong, everything's been done. Briana was the only donor that day. We flew her flag, a Donate Life flag in her honor. And once it's finished flying for the whole day, we're going to make sure that it comes to you in the mail. And so that flag right now is hanging in our mantle, and that's where it stays. And it's never been moved. We don't even use the fireplace because the flag is there. And so I went back into the restaurant to let everyone know, not only are we celebrating a birthday, but we're celebrating Briana giving life to 4 people. And so our waitress came and she was like, so my name is Briana and I'm your waitress and I am here to serve you. And that literally just blew me away. I ran out that restaurant. My mom had to explain to her why that saying that my daughter's name is Briana and the fact that she was there to serve. And so that was a part of Briana being a servant. And I came back in after I cleaned myself up and she was like, I'm so sorry. She says, I'm so sorry for your loss. However, I'm an organ donor. So that made me feel good that she was an organ donor and we just celebrated life. And I got the letters probably about a month later, giving a brief description of the 4 individuals who received that gift. The nurse, there was a nurse who received her heart, and then a gentleman received her liver, and 2 other guys received her kidneys. So I started writing those letters to those individuals and hoping to hear from them. And I finally did. I finally did. The first recipient to reach out was the heart, and that meant so much to me because I literally 2 days before called, I could smell my daughter's scent from the hospital. I was sitting there and I could smell it. It just overcame, and I walked out and I called my dad to pray with me, and he prayed with me, and he says, "Have you heard from any?" I said, "No, I haven't heard from any of the recipients." He says, "You will," and literally. 24 hours. She contacted my son and he said, somebody just said, thank you, tell your mom thank you for her selfless act of kindness. I'm like, I don't know anybody in Ohio. What do you mean? Did I bump into somebody? Did I open the door? I mean, how do they know my name? So I woke up 4:00 in the morning, the letters. I go looking for the letters and I'm like, oh, hi. Okay, maybe this is somebody that's related to the person who received the heart. And I go up and in my room and I'm reading it and I say, okay, I'm gonna call her. So I called her the next day when I was at my doctor's appointment. And that's when she called and she says, my name is Amber. I'm your daughter's heart recipient. And I was so overjoyed. I was crying. And the people in the doctor's office was like, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm just great. I said, my daughter's heart recipient is on the phone. And they're looking at me like, wow. And we talked for a long time. I think I delayed the doctor, but he understood what I was going through. And she just thanked me for that gift. She was just, she said, you don't know, I was ready to leave that hospital. She said, I was just okay with it and packing my stuff. And when I got the call, she said, I literally sat down on my bed and cried. I cried because I was happy that I'm going to have this gift, but also sad because someone had to die for me to get that gift. And so, but she had a wonderful, when I say wonderful, 6 more years of life. She passed away 2 years ago. And I'm thankful she had those 6 years. She got to do things that she didn't get a chance that she'd been wanting to do. She got a chance to get back to the beach. So she was in Panama City Beach. So she did that. And she had more time with her family and making more memories and seeing her nieces and nephews, hit some milestones. And that was a beautiful thing. And near the end, she did not want to have communication with me because she felt like, it would be too sad for me. And so her best friend called me to let me know when she passed and said she did tell me to tell you this message, that she thanks you for the gift. And she is paying it forward by being a donor herself. So she donated her corneas. And she said she also wanted to let you know, thank you for welcoming me into your family, for loving me. That meant the world to her. And she loved me. So I wish she had been able to tell me, but near the end, it was hard for her. And I get it. But I'm glad she was able to pass that message, to give it to me. And before she passed, she gave me the best Christmas gift that no one can ever top. She read a poem, an audio. She wrote the poem, read it, sent it to me. And at the end of the poem is my daughter's heartbeat beating. Oh. And so I downloaded on my phone. I got it on my laptop. I got it on the flash drive, so I'll never lose it. And so
Oh
I'm gonna
wow.
have it put into a teddy bear so I can listen
Right.
to it.
Right. That's
Um,
what Dee and Tyrone did. They put it in one of those stuffed teddy bears.
yes,
Build a bear.
Build a Bears.
And
Yes,
yeah, so Dee, yeah, they I think Dee gave it to the donor family for her to have, forever as well, which is a beautiful thing.
it is.
Um and you just said something, I just lost my train of thought. But what you spoke on about the donor recipient passing away.
Yes,
We recently had a conversation about, one, if you become a recipient, can you in fact still, once you receive, can you then pass that on? So you just kind of answered that question as well, because most people think that once you receive, you cannot play it forward,
you can.
right?
And some
And
do.
how often have you heard that? Oh, I can't be an organ donor because I'm
I
already
I
a recipient.
I hear it all the time, but I tell
Mm,
them it's better to market and say I'm gonna be a donor. They will decide what can be donated.
right.
You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. Just say yes. They can either say yes or no, but at least
Right.
you're saying yes. Um,
Right.
I
But
do
I
that.
think,
Yeah.
again, because of the lack of education, you
Yes.
know, they don't know about the other
The
parts
other
of the
part,
body.
yeah, the corneas.
Right.
My son is a tissue recipient.
Right.
He was a
Right. I
burn
want to make sure we said that.
Yeah, so he received tissue, and so we wrote to the donor family for the
Okay.
tissue that helped
Okay.
heal. I mean, he had second-degree burns on his
Mm-hmm.
arm and his right
Mm-hmm.
hand, and he went through rehab for months, and now you can't even tell how part really where the burns were because they healed so well. And the doctor was so amazed by that. And so by sharing with the other donor family, writing the letter, being on the other side and letting them know, look, we've been on your side where we are a donor family as well, and we
Mm-hmm.
just want to thank you for giving that gift because you saved my son. You helped him heal, so that is important. Yes.
Very much so. I just want people to understand that. I really, really do. Um, so many people that have been on the show can say that they have received multiple organs. They've been recipients of more than one. Although there are a few of them that will need another
Mhm.
transplant,
Yeah.
but because of the grace of God, they've
Yes.
been able to receive it, and receive another extension of
Yes.
life, which is a wonderful thing. And just to kind of, follow up with, we know what happened with your daughter, but
Yes.
what happened in the end? It's my understanding that the case is closed.
The case
So,
is closed. So both defendants pleaded. They pleaded out. They pleaded guilty. Instead of doing a trial, two separate trials, they accepted a plea deal. And with that plea deal, they got 3 life sentences plus 65 years, no parole. So they will never see the outside of a prison ever. They will spend their entire life in prison, pretty much.
wow. And I think for me, it's the arrogance of,
Yes.
one of them that would, it's so disrespectful,
Yes.
and I,
It's,
I
it's
remember,
yes,
I remember you saying that, you
the
know,
the judge was very hard on them because one of the gentlemen was smiling. He was you smirking, rocking in the chair like it wasn't a big deal. And you have victims' families, and not just Briana and her fiance, but they were also there were other victims prior to her fiance. So they have been once they were released from prison in January, they were committing other crimes and aggravated assault. So Brianna and Durante were the last victims. So you had other families there who experienced trauma from them. So
wow.
you have all these families upset because you're not taking this seriously. And that particular defendant, though, his attorneys did reach out to me, and they said, I believe maybe one of his family members said, hey, you need to give this mom some closure, answer some questions. And he answered about 25 questions that I had. He answered them honestly. They were very hurtful, the answers, but at least he was honest about it. His thought process is not, he said, I could ask for forgiveness, but it would be a lie. It wouldn't be honest. It wouldn't be, really from the heart.
Authentic.
It wouldn't be authentic. It would, I can't really, and I'm not going to do that. And he said it wasn't intended to be a kidnapping. He said we just saw an opportunity to grab them to get what we wanted. We didn't go there to kidnap anybody. And he said he never connected Briana or her fiance as people. Like, he disassociated them in his mind. He wasn't thinking, his mind was focused on getting his money. And I believe he mentioned they were collateral damage on a show that, in the first 48, he said they were collateral damage. And
wait, they did a first 48 on this?
Yes, Briana, they did a first 48. I think it was in 2020. The episode came out. It's called Taken. And then they have another one airing on Friday. They have, this is for the Real Murders of Atlanta. Oh, and with the Real Murders of Atlanta, they allowed us to share what we do for Briana's legacy. So they included us in this to give an update of what we do to for Briana's legacy, to continue her legacy, what we do. So we did that. So that's going to air on Oxygen on Friday at 9 p.m. So it's on that channel, and that'll be airing. It'll be aired multiple times, but that's the premiere of it, and the title is called Fatal Abduction of that show. So they are, those shows, I'm kind of particular what shows I want to do. And I've had so many ask me, and this particular one, the executive producers were like, look, we're going to give you samples of what we do and show you exactly what we want to do to share Briana's story. So, of course, they show the case, they explain the case, but at the end, they give us an opportunity, a great ample amount of time to share what Briana was like, what did she do, what we do for her nonprofit, what her children are doing. So there's more of the human side of who Briana was. We get to share more of that. And so that's why we decided to go in and do this show.
I'm so glad that they have that piece of it as well, that it isn't just what happened. It's the impact that it makes on everyone.
And with the first 48, they kept their promise, because I've done other shows. They didn't follow through with keeping organ donation in the story, but they did on the end of it. They told me they were going to do that, and they did it. And as a result of that, people have reached out to me, and that's how I became a keynote speaker for the Compassionate Friends Network, because they saw the first 48 show, just that small clip at the end. And they said they played it over and over again. And they said, we need her to come and share at our annual conference. And so I did that in July, and I got a chance to speak to 875 bereaved parents, grandparents, and siblings, and to empower and motivate them to celebrate the life of their child.
Right.
It is a journey. Not everyone takes that journey at the same time, but it's a journey. And I tell them, I promise you, look where I'm at, you can get there too. I promise you that. So, yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's good to see that it is a journey. It's not going to be fixed overnight, that this is a forever feeling, but there's ways that you can guide how you honor your loved one, how you take on every single day, because it's heavy and it's hard, especially the layers of going through court and everything as well.
Yes, and that was a lot. That was very stressful. I don't know how many times I was up in that court for every single hearing, or it was stressful.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe, and I had to learn it myself, that what we have experienced and what we go through is not for us. You know, it is always for someone else. Your test will become your testimony, and people don't know their own strength
Absolutely.
until you see somebody else and you're like, what? You know, I
Mm.
can do it, or hey, you made it, you know. So, just like that old song, when I look back over my life,
Yes.
and you say, I'm here right now, like I did it, and it's someone else that's going to travel that same road that you
Yes.
did. The destination or the ETA might not be the same,
Right.
but they will have to travel down this road.
Yeah.
And I'm just in awe of your strength,
Oh.
because again, I always say your
Well,
last name.
I get strength from the people who keep telling me to keep going.
Yeah,
Like strangers, lots
yeah,
of strangers who will
right.
hit me up and say, "Hey, you empower me, you motivate me, you're encouraging me."
Hmm.
Not just donor moms, but mothers who have lost their children, saying, "Hey, you've helped me." In my church, a young woman was like, she lost her son recently, like it was years ago, but it was recently her son had gotten killed by gun violence, and she pulled me outside from church. We were leaving out, and she's like, "Can I just talk to you for a quick second?" And I didn't know who
Right
she
there,
was. And
right
she
there.
says, "You don't know me, but I know your story." And she
Mm,
says, "Because of you, I did not kill myself." She says, "My son was killed and I did not kill myself just because of watching
how
what
you
you've been
move?
through."
Right, right,
So it's like, well, geez, if that's the case, why would I stop? I
right,
can't stop. I got to keep sharing her story and keep
right,
encouraging people,
right.
lead that
Yeah.
life of positivity. And when I know I've been asked about, you know, have you ever forgiven the defendants? I said, my forgiveness has been done. Like it was a process. My pastor gave me a book on forgiveness. Like I had to, it was a workbook that I had to go through certain steps to learn about, because he got tired of me going to the altar call, leaving it there and taking it back with me.
Mm.
So that last time he stopped, "Are you really going to leave it there?" Yes, I am.
Oh
So
wow.
when I did that, I literally instantaneously, that weight came off of me. And I realized holding on to all that unforgiveness, because it really wasn't for them, it was for
Right.
me.
For you.
So I got
Yeah.
to explain to people, when you forgive someone, it's really for you and not for them. Because if
Right.
you hold on to it, it festers in you, the anger, all of that, and I said, now that's gone. I feel much better now.
Hmm.
Now I can move forward, because I wasn't moving forward. I was
Right.
still in a stagnant place, thinking I was moving forward, but I wasn't. I was in a
Right.
hamster wheel, just going.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Once you get that release, it's everything.
Oh, it's yes.
It's
It's
everything.
like, wow, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
Right. Right. But again, my friend that's also a widow, we always say, people are always watching us, you know, like
Mhm.
how you gonna move and how you gonna handle things. And
Yes.
I'm like, why? Why are they watching? For that reason,
They
because
want to see
they,
how you handle. Yep.
yeah, they don't know how mentally and physically, spiritually strong you are. So of
Yep.
course they wait for like confirmation to
Mm-hmm.
try to understand, like, okay, maybe I could do the same thing.
Yes.
But I tell people, after all I've been through, I could never say, um, that I stopped loving God, that I stopped believing in Him,
Oh,
that I lost my hope,
yeah.
my faith.
Oh,
I could never do that.
no.
But you have your beautiful grandchildren, and out of Briana's passing, her
Yes.
baby girl,
That baby survived.
her baby survived. I
So
wanted people to know that baby
yes.
survived.
So I didn't have to plan 2 celebration of life services. She's celebrating birthday 9 on August 30th. So it's bittersweet, because it's still the anniversary of her father's passing.
Okay.
Um, but we celebrate her, and she has notified me 2 days ago that 2 years ago we did a drive-by birthday party because it was during the pandemic. So we had a table set up with goodie bags, and everybody would drive by and hand her gifts. She would take a picture, and I had the big sign, yard sign in the yard, "Happy birthday, Kaylee." And I didn't do that the following year. And then this year she was like, you didn't do my birthday sign last year, and I
Oh,
want that every year. I said, okay, I will do that, but that's going to be your gift.
okay. All right.
So we're going to do her birthday drive-through, as she calls it. So everybody will get to pass by and come and get a goodie bag. All of her friends can stop by and grab a goodie bag, and we'll do a family Zoom meeting so everybody can sing happy birthday to her. So she's made that known. That's what she wants every year until she says otherwise. I'm like, okay, we'll just be posting
Wow.
that sign every year up in the yard.
Wow. Just out of those flames came that little
Yes.
special girl.
Miracle baby with when they told me she would have so many issues, she'd come home with feeding tubes. She'd have extreme development delays. They don't know if she would walk. They didn't know if she'd be able to see well. Her hearing. When I tell you none of that, she has maybe a slight developmental delay, and she's on a slight spectrum of autism, but she definitely, you don't know that from her. She is spunky. She's fiery, but she's also calm and quiet. She could be either or, and most of the time she's the one that's just sitting back watching you. My oldest granddaughter, they're 10 months apart, so she's more of the social butterfly. She is identical to her mother. When I say the fact that she looks like her mother, she's a drama queen like her mother was. And so my son is like, why did your daughter have another her?
Yeah. So you won't never forget her. So
So you
you'll
will never
never
forget
forget
her. So
her.
there's your reminder of your
Right.
sister. So
Look at
of
God.
course, my
Wow.
grandson from another relationship, he comes over during Grandma Kiki weekend. I get one weekend a month where, the other weekends they go to the other grandmother, but on one weekend they come over, and it's like Yes Day. That movie, Yes,
Okay.
what we're going to eat. Can we have this? Sure. Can we stay up and watch? Yeah. Can we have popcorn? Yeah.
Mm.
It's there's no for Grandma Kiki. You get to spoil them and let them do whatever. They run all over the house, making noise or whatever, and driving their uncle crazy.
And y'all are happy.
And I'm like,
Everyone is happy. Everyone
yes,
is happy.
yes,
Sadria, I want to thank you for, giving us an update
yes,
to the people who are familiar with you, and definitely introducing you to some people that did not know you and know
yes,
your daughter's story. So I
absolutely.
am again forever grateful, because
Oh,
we both from down south
yes,
Miami anyway.
yes,
So,
Miami, yes.
Miami
Middle
girls. So
five.
that's right. All day, every day. So I appreciate you for taking the time to again, remind us why we're so blessed, and remind us the importance of becoming an organ donor to
Yes,
help save lives.
yes.
And so, do you all have any final words, Jessica? Any last words?
Just thank you so much for sharing your story and all the goodness that you're bringing into the world by sharing her legacy and how much she lives on through not just those little identical twins of
Yes,
hers, but through everything that you're doing as well. It makes a huge difference, and just so grateful.
thank you.
Awesome. Those are my sentiments exactly. We still have more things to do, Centria. We
Oh
still
yeah,
have we
I'm
still have
still
more
working on
things to
things
do.
for next year. I'm getting it. I'm getting it together. I'm
Right,
trying
right.
to, yeah, my board keeps me accountable. They're
Well,
you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm like,
okay. All right. Well, we look forward to, is it this year you have a walk for her, or a
next year we're trying to plan an annual lantern parade, an evening lantern parade, where everyone
okay.
is going to be celebrating. We're going to light up the night with life. So it's in conjunction with organ donation, but it's for everyone to celebrate the life of someone they love that's no longer here. So we're trying to find some artists, local artists, to help design some lanterns that will have workshops for people to create their own lanterns and color them wherever they want.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard process, but we're going to do it. And then in the spring, we'll be doing our first annual Briana's Heart of Gold scholarship, awarding to a student here in our county who wants to be in the medical field. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's the medical field, we're going to help you.
See,
So,
Briana's name will never die. It will live on forever.
I'm trying to make sure that, not just for our children, but those, our children's children will know about their grandmother. So
wonderful, Sadria, wonderful.
Don't forget, they can go to the website, brianasheartofgold.org.
Okay.
And she has her own Donate Life registry campaign. So if anybody it's called BHG 7 and 7. So we're our goal this year for the next 7 years is to 7,000 people. 7 was the number we came up with 7 because 4 lives were saved through organ donation, but she gave birth to 3. So those 7 lives enhanced. So we came up with that. Yeah.
I'm still working on this 1,000, but you go ahead with 7,000.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
I go big. I'm like, well, no, let's just go 7,000.
Oh, I'll be watching. I will be watching. Okay, guys. So again, thank you all for watching Transplant Talk with Nyshonda in honor of Miss Briana, who gave her life and became an organ donor and saved all those lives. And I did not show the picture of Andrew, who was her actual recipient. This is Andrew and Sadria, and he's a liver recipient. And again, he's alive and well, and he's forever
alive
grateful.
And well. Both kidney recipients are alive and well.
Awesome.
One of the kidney recipients is my old co-worker's family member. I just found that out a year ago.
Now you know that's another show, right?
I know it's another show, but we'll
No. I mean, that's another show for us to do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, everyone. Thank you again for watching. Tune in next week for another show. And you just have to actually, her name is Shekinah. So we will have Shekinah Butler on the show next week, who was a baby. She was a baby liver recipient during that time. So, as always, be kind to one another. Don't forget to become an organ donor. Whether you put it on your license or not, just register to become an organ donor. God bless you all, and good night.
I need just one more day, just one more hour to speak the truth to power. Life's not that long, just a few short hours. So make each minute count, make every second matter. Just give me one more day.